guys, it's Mrs. Millicent. Okay, let's do a quick video on talking about constructors in inheritance. Okay, I have a couple classes here. I've got a pet class that simply has two instance variables, type and name. And then I have a dog class which extends pets, and it has an extra variable for breed. Okay, now you notice I don't have any constructors in here. I do have a tester file so we can create some dogs and some pets. Okay, first thing I want to say is, well, let's go ahead and just create our constructor. So we're going to create two constructors for pet, a default one where we don't put any parameters, and then one with the two parameters for type and name. So public pet, this will be our default. So we'll just make type equal none and name equal, we'll do NA. Okay, so that is our default. So if I don't put any, I won't have any parameters, okay? And then we'll do one where we'll ask for everything in our parameters. Okay. We need a string method. We need a toString method to print, okay? Because if we create our objects and using the parameters, we want to be able to look at them. So let me just create this real quick, toString method. We'll do name. Oops. Is a, and then whatever animal it is. Okay. So now when I go to create a dog, okay, I actually don't need anything because without a constructor in here, since it extends pet, it should use the pet constructor. So let's come over here to tester. Let's do one of these. Let's do pet one. Let's create one with some parameters. Okay, so now when I go to print pet one, I should see my toString method in action. Okay, yep, kitty is a cat. Now, again, this was just based off of the pet class. So I had a constructor, I had a default constructor with no parameters, and then I had a constructor with the parameters for all the variables. Okay, and then of course I had to do my toString method. But if I come over here and create a dog, there is no constructor for dog. It should grab, actually, and again, it doesn't, it looks for a constructor in dog, and there is none, so it goes to the parent class, and it attaches itself to the default constructor. So it's always important to have a default constructor in your parent class that does not have any arguments in case you do build a parent class that doesn't have a constructor, okay? Now, as soon as I put in a constructor here, I want to not create a default one, but I want to create a constructor for dog that will grab the type and name in addition to the breed. So I'm going to need type, name, and breed as my parameters. Okay. Now, type and name come from my parent class or my super class. So I'm going to use the super keyword. Okay. And I'm going to grab, put them in order, T and N, because type comes before name. Okay. So I'm going to use my super, and I'm going to grab this T and N to attach to this should be the same data type. This should be the same data type and the same order as the signature line of the parameters here on my constructor that I'm tapping into, okay, that I'm using. And then, of course, breed is just coming from this class file, so I don't need to do anything special with him except what I normally do. Breed equals, oh, I meant to just do B there, okay? Okay, so now when I compiled, this dog object is looking for that default dog constructor, okay? Well, before I had any constructors, if it didn't see any constructors, it went back to the parent class and it used its default. But now that I have a dog constructor in here, I either have to build a default one, okay, so that this will run, or I've got to put my parameters in here, okay? It can do either or. If I want a default dog, let's go ahead and build our default dog constructor then. Our default dog constructor, let's see. I think I want it to use this, so I'm not going to put any parameters. Okay, let's see if this will work. And then I want breed equal or NA. Oops. Let's see if this will work. Okay, so now I shouldn't get the error anymore. So let's see what happens when we run this. Okay, good. So again, this is still the default dog. So now this default dog constructor is coming back in here and it's running this one. It's going to look back at the super default constructor for the superclass, which was the pet, which will give me none, and an NA. Okay. Now, I don't have any print method in my dog class, so anything I print is always going to come off of my pet superclass or parent class. Okay. And since we're dealing with constructors, I'm not going to worry about printing. Okay. The only other thing I wanted to show you or talk about was in our parent or subclass, in our child or subclass, you have to have your call to the super class constructor first. Okay, it has to be in the first line. So if I move this to the second line of my constructor, I'm going to get an error. Okay, so you have to call, you have to reference that the signature of the constructor from the superclass in the first line of your constructor in your child or subclasses. Okay. Another thing is you don't necessarily just need to do the variables. Okay. We're in the dog class. So the type is always going to be dog. So I'm actually going to take this out of my constructor and I'm just going to put in dog here. Okay. So every time I create a dog, I don't need the name. I don't need the type. I just need the name and the breed because I'm going to have a default of dog, which will populate the type because the first variable in the superclass's constructor is type. Okay. T is type. So it'll always be dog. Okay. So now let me come over to my tester. Now, if I want to create a second dog, and I want to put, what was his name? And the breed was, I don't know. Okay. So now when I print out dog 2, I should see Scout is a dog, right? I won't see poodle because I didn't put breed in any of my print statements. Okay. So good. Scout is a dog. Did I say poodle? Scout is a dog. Pardon me, not poodle. I won't see poodle. Because again, it's coming over here. It's using this constructor where I just had the name and the breed. It's automatically putting dog in for the type. And then it sticks in the name Scout and then the breed. And then here, since I don't have a toString in my dog class, it'll print Scout as a dog. Okay. So just remember a couple things real quick. For constructors, you always want to default kind of no parameter constructor in your parent or superclass. Okay, that'll catch anytime you create a sub or a child class and forget a constructor. Okay, so you won't get any errors. When you're in your child or subclass, you want to always make sure you call to the superclass constructor in the first line of your subclass or child constructor. Okay. And then remember, when you do that call, you can simply use the variable. Okay. Since if it's coming from a parameter, or you can put a static value in there. Because again, I'm in the dog class. All these dogs are going to be dogs. I don't have to type. I don't want to have to put that type in every single time. Okay. Anytime there's duplicate, anytime you're duplicating anything, code it so you don't have to type it a million times. Okay. All right. That is it for constructors. I hope it was helpful, and I will see you next time.